Hello, my friends. Come in, come in, sit down, take a breath. My name is Miss Carol. I'm a former career teacher, now here with you, sharing everything I've learned over my journey of growth and healing, showing myself radical acceptance and appreciation so that I can cultivate more meaningful connections and relationships. And today I want to talk specifically about first impressions and one big mistake that we make when it comes to first impressions. And like it or not, people are judging us. We are being judged every single day. Just like a dog might sniff another dog's butt, we are judging one another. But that is a great thing because in that judgment and in that first impression, you are there demonstrating everything that you have practiced. If you are deepening your emotional and mental awareness and deepening your consciousness, this one thing will ultimately show itself before you even say one word. And I'm going to go over that with you. So, 93% of first impressions are nonverbal communication. Those are facial expressions, tone of voice, and posture. Our posture speaks so much about us, how we feel about ourselves, how we see ourselves in the world, excuse me, whether we feel we are valuable and worthy is all in our posture. And it is so important to be mindful of that when we were out in the world because, again, we are very judgmental creatures. And, like a lot of little girls, I went to dance classes when I was young. I was enrolled in jazz, contemporary, and my favorite was ballet because ballet was this wonderful movement of symmetry, and I was so fascinated by these dancers who seemingly looked so frail but were so strong. And I always had the most fun in a kind of masochistic kind of way in my ballet classes because they were so hard. But I really learned the importance of sitting up tall, putting your shoulders back, and that's kind of stayed with me for throughout my entire life. And these are classes that I took years ago when I was a kid. It just spoke to me for whatever reason. It's just always spoken to me, and I have definitely found that I can. Well, number one, I am not tall. People like to tell me I'm tall, but I'm like 5'7" on a good day. And especially when I stand and my posture is erect, I can definitely literally see above other people, and that's always come in handy. I can see when things are coming at me. I am paying attention. My posture communicates that I am paying attention to my surroundings. So that is crucial when we are attempting to attract a life and people that we desire in our lives, how we give off that first impression. There will always be people who are attracted to that, both negatively and positively. Negatively because they cannot emulate it. They haven't found it within themselves to demonstrate it within themselves. So they attempt to get as close to that thing as possible so they can basically hate on it. And things like this have never made sense to me, but that is just the world that we live in, unfortunately. Keep your enemies close. I literally just watched The Godfather 1 and 2 with my sister and my brother-in-law when I was in California a few weeks ago. And keep your enemies close is a true thing. For whatever reason, we are like animals. Well, not like animals. We are animals. We are attempting to manipulate, judge, and ultimately betray and to see what we can get from one another. But one way that you can combat that is to erect your posture in such a way where you are prepared. It's like when you are standing firm, you are communicating to not only other people, but circumstances, situations. I'm not the one to play with. I'm not the one that's on that fuck shit. If you come over here with it, you might have another outcome that you might not be prepared to handle on the other side. So for me, there are three ways to work on your posture every day, three physical things you can do every day to work on your posture. And when you think about it, we are privileged to carry this body around with us. It is such a privilege to be housed in this body that was created specifically for me. Nobody else was supposed to have it. I was supposed to be born exactly when I was supposed to be born. I was supposed to be born with the gender and the skin and the everything was supposed to be. And I take a lot of pride in that. I don't want to just schlep this body around. I want to carry it in such a way where it communicates gratitude and thankfulness to my higher self, to my higher consciousness, that I am appreciative of this body. So the first thing that we can do is sleep on the floor. And this may, rub people the wrong way because it brings up, feelings of like inadequacy and, all of these things that are tied to our attachment to have things and our fear of not having enough. But I worked as a massage therapist, and specifically I worked in a chiropractic office for about a year when I was practicing massage therapy. And I would have all these patients come in for multiple sessions, and it just struck me how much they could get relief, the exact same relief for $0 just by sleeping on the floor. Obviously these techniques take into account that you are able to do so, meaning your body is strong enough to handle laying on the floor. Obviously, if you have a condition like scoliosis, or let's say you're a woman and you have large breasts and you can't erect your posture in such a way because your breasts are large to the point where it's hindering your ability to stand tall. Obviously, you need to account for that, but sleep on the floor. And there is a reason why people who live the longest live more simple lives. There's a direct correlation between those two things. The next thing that you can do is, again, lay on the floor, put your legs up against the wall so that you are on the floor, your legs are up against the wall in like a 90-degree angle, and just sit there. Just sit there for at least 5 minutes, and then work up to 10 minutes, and then work up to 15, and then to 20. If you can do that a few times a week, you will naturally notice that you are standing up taller, that you are your neck and your all of this is supposed to be in a line. So our head, our neck, our back, our hips are supposed to be tilted forward. A lot of us tilt our hips back like this. We're supposed to be tilting our hips forward so we can really pull ourselves up. And the last thing, it sounds kind of strange, but that's okay because I have accepted my strangest long ago. When you're out and about walking, look up. Look up. Look up at the sky. Look up at tall buildings. Look up at the trees. We are a culture that is so looking for the next thing to impress us. It's for the next thing to excite us. When we have sunsets and nature and trees and buildings, sometimes when I'm in any downtown area, I will just find myself looking up at the buildings and imagining the stories that were created before these buildings came into effect. What were these architects thinking of? What were they attempting to communicate with putting certain windows in certain ways? It's very inspiring to me. My Oma, my mother's mother, she and I were very close, especially towards the end of her life. And I remember one instance I asked her one day, because she would always walk with her head, or excuse me, with facing, looking at the ground. And I asked her, Oma, why are you walking with looking down? And she said, well, how am I going to know where I'm going if I don't look at my feet? And it was just, it just struck me as such a contradiction that we that we think that we are looking down and quote unquote protecting ourselves because we can see where we're going. But then if we're looking down, we literally cannot see what is coming to us. And we've all experienced this of, somebody on their phone and literally they are not looking at you at all. And I literally will let them get very close to me and be like, well, you were on your phone. So how could you know that I was here? Another thing we've all probably experienced are those older people who are hunched over like this, who walk hunched over like this. That is an amalgamation of years and years and years of not attempting to carry your body in such a way that keeps it up. We are all here on this earth because of gravity. We are literally all pulled to the earth because of gravity. Gravity is going in one direction. So that means you have to use force, you have to use energy in order to counteract gravity. Otherwise, it's just going to pull you down. Unfortunately, now more than ever, we are crippled by the judgment, the rejection, the fear of failure that we all have. We all experience this. And a lot of it does come from social media. We all have such a microscope on each other. And it makes me really sad. And it's very unfortunate because we are allowing ourselves to stay closed off and not really experiencing the depths of our lives because we are so afraid to be judged and to be rejected and to fail. But in order to live a more conscious life, you're going to have to make friends with the things that scare you the most. There is no easy way to say that. That is what it is. You are going to have to figure out a way to make friends with failure and rejection specifically. And I can't tell you how to do that. Everybody's on their own path. All I know is that is indicative to all the successful people, all of the conscious and monetary successful people that I have ever known. Never forget, we are mammals. We are animals. We may not sniff each other's butt, thankfully, or if you're into that. But we are attempting to figure out where our position is, where in the hierarchy we land. And if you don't decide that, if you don't position yourself and posture yourself in such a way where you can decide where in the higher hierarchy social stratus you belong, this society will decide for you. And it's happened generation after generation after generation. But we get to decide now, where am I going to put myself? Where do I desire to be? Because it's up to me. It is up to me. So if this video has inspired you to create some techniques for yourself about how you can be aware of what your facial expressions, what your tone, what your posture is communicating about first impressions, please leave a comment. And please, if you feel called to, subscribe, and I will lovingly appreciate that. I am thankful for the work that you're doing. I am thankful for you showing up today. Check out this next video, and I'll see you later, my friends. Have a good day.